Hi YouTube, it's Kathy and I'm here to do the R tag means death book tag. I'm assuming absolutely everyone gets the reference to this, but in case you don't, this is a book tag based on the episodes of Our Flag Means Death. This was created by Kaz over at Cats and Camera, and she very graciously tagged me and just basically anybody who wants to do this, definitely do this tag. And what she did is she put together a question for every episode in the first season, because yes, we are getting more than one season and I'm so excited. My biggest worry when I do a tag like this is that I'm not going to come up with a suitable or satisfying answer, so let's see how I can do. This tag was only posted yesterday, and assuming I can actually edit this today, I'm gonna get it up the day after it's posted, which I love that for me. Also, it's first thing in the morning and it's already 27 degrees Celsius inside my house, which means that there are some windows open, so if you hear any chickens or quails or road noise or just outside people being outside people, I'm sorry, but it's hot. I love you enough that the sliding door next to me is closed, but other than that, we're gonna have to just deal with the fact that I can hear birds right now. And garbage trucks. Question 1 has to do with the pilot, and the prompt is a group ensemble you would love to join, but you have to kick out a member. Mutiny. I have a feeling I'm going to want to say this several times throughout this tag, but these questions are very creative and I just love that, so thank you, Kaz. I'm going to mostly try to answer these questions with books I've read this year. I won't be able to answer only with those books, but I'm going to try my best. And this one is a little bit of cheating because it's the book I'm currently listening to. It's The Cartographers. Now, this is a book about people who are cartographers. As you might know, our main character is named Nell, and she used to work at the map division in the New York Public Library with her father, who's the head cartographer. He's bigwig in their field, but 7 years ago they got into a fight and he kicked her out of the field, basically. He has that much sway. However, when she's drawn back into this field, some strange things start happening. She has to uncover some mysteries. And I'm very much tiptoeing around giving you spoilers, but back when her father was in university, who is a part of 7 people that always did all their projects together. So even though I'm not going to tell you what that group called themselves, I'm just going to talk about those 7 people. That's the ensemble I'd like to fit myself into, and I would like to replace the person who ends up being evil. I'm not going to tell you who that is because, again, spoilers, but I just kind of figured that if I took out that person and I took that person's place, things would go way differently, and I would love to join this group because of the adventures they go on. Again, not spoiling it for the people that don't know exactly what's going on in this book, but yeah, it's good times. I also very much appreciate that this book took some actual cartography lore and history and put it into this book in a very interesting way. Episode and prompt 2 is A Damned Man. Love or loathe a book you hated or loved that everyone else seemed to have the opposite opinion on. I am very scared I'm going to lose at least one friendship when I say this. Now, I didn't hate this book. However, when I read it, I want to say about a decade ago, I didn't love it as much as everyone seems to love it. Like, I thought it was probably about a 3.5-star book. I checked what I gave it on Goodreads, which was 4, which is what I would do if I wanted to give something 3.5. Without further beating around the bush, the book in question is The Song of Achilles. I understand that it's going through this very popular phase right now. I haven't reread it since I read it the first time, and I read it before I was on BookTube, which means I read it more than 5.5 years ago, so maybe I would like it even more if I read it now. I do have a copy. I actually owned a copy before, got rid of it in a massive book haul, and then I got another copy I think last year as part of the Life's Library Book Club. So I have another copy. I could reread it and reevaluate my feelings on it. But yeah, I didn't loathe this book, I just thought it was okay, and then everyone's like, this is the best, and I'm like, alright. Number 3 is A Gentleman Pirate, a book you would sell your booty for right now. Personally, I wouldn't, I just want to say that. but that's not what you want from this question. So when I thought about this, I was like, well, me posting videos like this is kind of like selling my soul a little bit, and sometimes I try to let you guys know that I have a wish list down below that you could buy from. You do not have to do that, you do not, but I thought to myself, well, what is the most expensive book on that list? I mean, one of the most recent books I put on that list is Carrie Soto is Back, because I'm very excited for that release next month. However, that's not the most expensive book on there. I thought it was going to be a book I put on there semi-recently called Legends of Drag, which was recommended to me by Kevy from Say Kevy, and that book is almost the most expensive book on that list. That book comes in at $44 Canadian, and yes, I am very interested in it. However, I took a scroll through that list and there was a book that was $45, so I guess that's the one I would sell my booty for because, you know, I'd like to give it a high price. It's a nonfiction book, which explains why it's so expensive, and I'm just going to read you the title because it's got a long nonfiction title. It's called Out North, an archive of queer activism and kinship in Canada. I would love to get my hands on this just because I learn a lot of American history, obviously, as we all tend to do these days. I would love to know more Canadian history, especially when it comes to this topic. Number 4 is Discomfort in a Married State. First meeting a character you instantly fell in love with. For me, this was Lewis in Spin Me Right Round. This was a book that I got as an audiobook that I happened to get during the week of the Queer Lit Readathon, which just worked out perfectly because it's Back to the Future inspired. Another book I was reading was Back to the Future inspired, so it was fun to read both of them in the same week. But this character is just so unapologetically himself, and I just absolutely loved that about him. I was listening to it and I was like, there's gonna be some people that don't like this book because they don't like how much this character is being himself. I can just see some people being like, this character is too much, he's too everything. And I loved that about him. That book, if you don't know about it, is about this character named Lewis who wants to make it so that his very conservative school actually allows people to bring people of the same gender as their dates to prom. There's a thing on the ticket for prom that says it has to be a boy going with a girl and a girl going with a boy, which doesn't work for him because he wants to bring his boyfriend, doesn't work for his best friend because his best friend is non-binary, so like what's the opposite gender of that? And then while he's in the middle of trying to battle this out with the people at the school, he accidentally ends up back in time and going to high school with his parents. Number 5 is The Best Revenge is Dressing Well. A beautiful book, what's inside and out. I forgot to grab it. 1 second. I have no idea if that is going to have messed up my autofocus. Let's hope not, because I can't see myself right now, so I can't tell you. The book that I wanted to grab from under my coffee table is The Art of Drag. This is a gorgeous book about the history of drag. It goes into a lot of different topics, and the inside is just absolutely stunning. It has these full page spreads. It goes into different histories, different places, different drag queens, different people, different topics. This is just stunning. It's such a great primer for the subject. And then yeah, there's even a bibliography at the back so you can do further research on your own time, and I'm going to have to watch a lot of those documentaries, etc. Number 6 is The Art of Fuckery, a book that took you on a wild ride. I would like to put forward Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This is a book about two fathers. Both of them have lost their sons to a homophobic attack, and then something happens to make them want to take the law into their own hands and then go on a revenge adventure. I loved this because both these characters had strained relationships with their sons, but they still absolutely loved them, otherwise they wouldn't be doing this. And in between all these action sequences and all these hardcore things that happen throughout this book that I won't spoil for you, there are genuine discussions about things like class and race and privilege, and it's just very, very good. And I need it to be made into a movie as soon as possible, please. Number 7 is This Is Happening. For this one, you're looking for a treasure map, which is an underrated gem of a book that more people should read. For this one, I'm just going to go with what I've classified as my favorite book of all time because I hate when people ask me favorites, so I've just designated a book as my favorite, and that's Words in Deep Blue by Cath Crawley. This is a very bookish Australian book. It is set in a family bookstore, and it's set around these two friends. She moved away about 3 years ago and left him a letter saying that she actually likes him even more than a best friend, but never never heard back about it. Now she finds herself back in town because of something that is causing her immense grief, and she has to work through that and seeing him again, and ends up having to work at the family bookstore with him, and it's a whole thing. This is just full of bookish references. It's got a letter library, which I would love to have in a local bookstore. It's full of grief. It's just beautifully written. I very much enjoyed it. 8 is We Go Way Back, and this is looking for your favorite animal companion. There are a few different companions in the In Ash series by Julie from Pages and Pens. However, the one that I wanted to point out for this one is one that shows up in the second book, which is A Prophecy in Ash, and don't worry, no spoilers whatsoever, but every once in a while this fox shows up, and every time it happens I'm just like, is this just going to be an adorable fox that Reardon sometimes sees, or is this going to turn into something possibly in the third book? I don't know, but either way, it's this beautiful animal companion, which is so funny because there's tons of other animal companions in this. Basically, everybody who's in Fairy has some form of animal companion, and when they're in Fairy, they can actually talk to it telepathically, but they can't do that in our world. So Breinoch has this horse. I think Ash's is actually a phoenix or some other type of bird. I can't remember the exact details. I know it's definitely some form of bird. But yeah, for whatever reason, it's probably because I've had a couple of different friends from the UK posting things about seeing foxes in their gardens or whatever. This fox just really stood out to me. Number 9 is Act of Grace, a series that started out great but then went downhill, or you DNF'd. I haven't technically DNF'd this series because I have the 4th book, I just haven't made time to read it because whatever happens I'm gonna be some form of annoyed. That will be the Thornchapel series by Sierra Simone. Now, I loved the first book in this series, which was A Lesson in Thorns. This is a book about 6 different people who were all friends when they were children, and then they all come together in adulthood, and it's a sexy, smutty, polyamorous, like, type of thing. However, there is a reveal in the second book that made everybody who read it, I feel, almost everybody, I'm sure there weren't people that were uncomfortable, but most people that I've talked to who have read it were made very uncomfortable by it. And this is such a shame because this is a series that I was buddy reading with my friend Jean over at Jean Bookish Thoughts. We both really liked the first one. We did not like the reveal at the end of the second one. We tried to buddy read the third one. I think she DNF'd like 20% in. And I was like, I'm going to power through because I just want to know, and then I can tell you what happens because you're not going to read it, but you kind of want to know. And I have the 4th and final book. I just have never gotten around to reading it. I do enjoy that a character gets some comeuppance at the end of the 3rd one, but I have a feeling that in the 4th one, everything's just going to go really well for that character, and it's going to be revealed that he's not actually as bad as he seems to be, and I'm just going to be annoyed if that's the case. So I've been putting it off because I know I'm going to be annoyed. That's just why. That's it. That's why I've been putting it off. Number 10 is Wherever You Go, There You Are, and for this one you're looking for an auto-buy author. I don't strictly have any auto-buy authors because I depend a lot on the library or getting ARCs. However, there are authors that if they have a new book coming out, I want to read it. One of those authors I've already mentioned in this video, and that's Taylor Jenkins Reid. She has a new one coming out next month. I really want to read it. With the exception of Carrie Soto Is Back and Malibu Rising, I have a copy of all of her other books. I've read most of them. There are a couple of the older ones I haven't read yet because I have that feeling of, well, once I've finished those, I don't have any more from this author, so I've kind of been putting them off. And I know that I'm not going to love them as much as I love Evelyn Hugo. Although I could, you never know, but I have the feeling I'm not going to love them as much as that. I am going to enjoy them probably, assuming that her writing is a similar quality, but no matter what she writes after Carrie Soto, I'm going to want to keep reading her stuff. Similarly, we have Ashley Herring Blake. Anything she writes, I want to read. I love Delilah Green Didn't Care. I'm so excited we're getting a book for Astrid very soon too. I've loved all of her middle grade. Anything she writes, I want to read it. Similarly, Joseph Fink, who is one of the writers for Welcome to Night Vale. He also came out with a middle grade Halloween-y kids book, and I really enjoyed that as well. That one was called The Halloween Moon. I couldn't think of it immediately in that sense, but that's what that was called. And then of course there's tons of other authors that if I see they've written something new, I'm going to want to read it. It's just too too hot to be sitting on camera and going through every single author like that because there's a lot of them and I can already feel that I'm sweating on camera, so it's a good time to end this. While we've been filming this, the temperature in the house has gone up a whole degree and it's just gonna get worse throughout the day. If you made it all the way through this video and you're so inclined, you are now tagged. Please do this tag. I found these questions really, really creative and I think that that should be rewarded by other people also giving answers to these questions. If you have answers but don't want to make a video, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. That means basically you can buy me a coffee for what I do, but you don't have to, just like you don't have to go to my wish list right now. You can if you want, you don't have to. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!